My name is Sarah. I am 50 years old. When I look in the mirror today, I do not see a woman who is tired. I do not see a woman who is fading into the background. I see my long silver hair, my clear, radiant skin, and the elegant, lean muscle that I work hard for every single day. I have endless energy. I understood a long time ago that my body is my absolute greatest investment at age 50. But I have a very honest confession to make to you right now. For years, I was living a complete lie. I thought I knew exactly how to be healthy, but I was doing it all wrong. My metabolism was broken, and I was suffering in silence. 95% of you are doing the ketogenic diet wrong. I know this because I made every single mistake myself. Today, I am going to share my complete step-by-step framework to fix it. If you are also tired of carrying around that stubborn belly fat, if you hate that mid-afternoon brain fog, and if you want to learn how I completely reversed my aging process to become a fat-burning machine, hit the subscribe button and leave a like. Let's get stronger together. Let me take you back to my starting line. It is step 1, and it is where most Americans live right now. Honestly, it was a miserable place to be. I used to eat every 2 to 4 hours. I was told by trainers and magazines that I needed to constantly fuel my metabolism. So I carried little healthy snacks everywhere. I had almonds in my purse and protein bars in my car. I thought I was doing the right thing. But the truth is, I was a total slave to my next meal. My body was fueled entirely on glucose. If I missed a snack, I was in trouble. I would get that dreaded blood sugar crash. You know the feeling. I would get incredibly tired, irritable, and so foggy I could barely read my phone. In this constant snacking state, my body never once fueled on a ketone. I never burned a single ounce of my own fat. I was creating a toxic environment inside myself. But I include this step for a critical reason. Nobody is perfect. Life happens. You see, even if you fall off the wagon, you never fall so far off that you cannot get back on the map. I had to forgive myself. I took a deep breath, put my chin up, and decided to proceed to step 2. Step 2 is where the real hard work began for me. I had to eat less than 20 total carbs per day. This is the very first rule of true keto. I had to drop my total carbohydrates down to under 20 grams. And let me be clear, this is the only number that counts at this stage. I stopped looking at net carbs. I stopped worrying about calories. I ignored fiber. I only focused on keeping my daily total carbohydrates under 20 grams. I had to force my body to burn through all that stored blood sugar I had been hoarding for decades. And you know what surprised me most? It actually worked. At the same time, I found I could naturally go much longer between my meals. It was a revelation. Unlike the roller coaster spike and crash I used to get from eating carbs, eating high fat provided a deep, stable satiety. I felt full and focused for 6 to 8 hours at a time. This was my hormones finally working for me. Chronically high insulin had literally locked my own body fat away in storage. I realized I had to consume fat to restore those fat-based hormones. I had to send a physical signal to my brain that it was safe to start burning fat for fuel. My body's chemistry started doing the heavy lifting. I just had to eat the fat. I started my day with bacon and eggs, every single morning. If I decided to scramble the eggs, I made sure to add full-fat cheese. If I didn't want bacon that morning, I added 80% ground beef soaked in real butter. I ate until I was completely uncomfortably full. Most keto beginners are very tempted to skip breakfast. Please do not do this. Even if I was not particularly hungry in the morning, I forced myself to eat a massive breakfast specifically for this step. Leaving my house and walking into a world full of temptation is an absolute recipe for disaster if you are not completely satiated. I needed all the help I could get. My very first tool was a simple box of urine ketone strips. I bought them at the pharmacy and kept them right in my bathroom. I tested myself every single time I went to pee. By day 4 of eating high fat and less than 20 carbs per day, I looked down and saw that little strip turn pink. It indicated that my body had successfully made ketones. This was my first massive win. I felt so incredibly proud of myself. I felt my energy shifting. But I learned quickly that if it takes you longer than 4 days to turn that strip pink, there are usually a few hidden causes. The first cause is simple. Your ketone strips are bad. If your strips are more than a month old, they likely got exposed to fresh air, and the time will deactivate the sponges. I learned to just buy a new canister. The second cause was a hard truth for me: drinking too much alcohol. I loved my sophisticated glass of wine in the evening, but alcohol is a fuel, just like glucose and ketones. It will be preferentially burned by your mitochondria first. Plus, I noticed that I was always tempted to eat more carbs when I drank. Alcohol blocked my ketosis entirely. The best answer for me was to abstain completely for the first 6 weeks. I decided my vitality was more important than a drink. When I chose to continue after 6 weeks, I stuck strictly with low-carb cocktails or dry wine. Some people even mixed distilled alcohol with ketones to stay on track, which derailed them the least. Number 3 is that you might just be sicker than you thought. Insulin resistance and diabetes can affect how long it takes to see your first ketone. The answer was to just keep going. I promised myself I would make ketones if I kept eating the fat. Then I experienced step 3. This was the magical moment I had been waiting for. It is the accidental missed meal. After several weeks of strict eating, I was super busy at work. I looked up at the clock and realized it was 3 in the afternoon. I had completely forgotten to eat lunch. And the best part? I wasn't even slightly hungry. I felt totally sharp. This was the first proof that I was truly becoming keto-adapted. That massive appetite suppressant came directly from the hormones I was making from eating fat. My appetite decreased because I was finally successful at burning my own body's fat in between meals. I learned you absolutely cannot force this moment. This step asks you to listen closely for a very important signal from your body. If your fat-based hormones are wimpy, you will fail. I did not even look at the scale during this time. The most important signal was succeeding at the absence of hunger. I hadn't felt that kind of freedom in decades. Right up until this point, my chemistry carried me. But I knew I needed willpower for step 4. Step 4 is eating exactly 2 meals per day. What happened by accident in step 3 now had to become my conscious, daily choice. I realized I was no longer a victim to my hunger. I was the one in control. I explicitly chose to eat 2 meals per day. I was no longer the slave to my next snack. My body was so well fueled by its own energy stores that it simply did not need to be fed every few hours. More aptly, I started calling this step 2 boluses of food per day. A bolus means any time you are chewing on food. I stopped making the distinction between meals and snacking because I realized my body does not know the difference. Anytime I put food in my mouth, I was stimulating insulin. Carbohydrates spiked my insulin the highest, protein was a little less, and fat was the smallest bump. But the bump was still present. Those insulin spikes, no matter how tiny they were the absolute enemy of my progress. So I chose to sit down, eat a beautiful meal twice per day, and firmly keep my mouth closed to food the rest of the time. My only goal here was extreme consistency. I did this successfully for 7 straight days before I moved on. Number 5 is called 16-8. Now I formalized my 2 meals into a strict schedule with a classic intermittent fasting protocol. This means I ate all of my food inside an 8-hour window. For the other 16 hours, I fasted completely. No eating, no snacking, absolutely no chewing. I used to be a gum chewer, and I had to come to a serious truth moment. I threw all my gum away. For 16 hours, I had nothing but water and salt. However, at this stage, I used what I call my training wheels. I did not count the fat in my morning coffee as starting my eating window. I kept my coffee filled with heavy fat. I used butter, heavy cream, or MCT oil in my morning drink. It kept me deeply satiated and provided incredibly steady energy while my body adjusted. People always ask me when my 8-hour window should start. The answer I found is simple. Pick one that fits your real life and stick to it. I love eating supper with my husband, so my window did not begin until noon and ended exactly at 8 at night. The key was consistency, not perfect timing. I succeeded at 16:8 for at least 2 solid weeks before I felt ready for the next level. That next level is number 6, Advanced 16:8. I had fully mastered the 16-hour fast with the help of my fatty coffee, and now it was time to take the training wheels off. In this step, I cleaned up my morning drink completely. For the full 16 hours of my fast, I consumed absolutely no fat. No MCT oil, no butter, no sweeteners, 0 calories. Only salt, water, black coffee, and plain tea were allowed. My body was incredibly efficient at burning its own fat by now. I simply did not need to give it extra fuel in a mug. It was time to let my own waistline do the work. This is where I began to practice a technique I call land and squeeze. I had successfully landed on a consistent 8-hour eating window. Now I had earned the right to squeeze it. One week, my window naturally shrank to 7 hours. In a few weeks, I was perfectly comfortable with only 6 hours of eating and a massive 18 hours of fasting. I was gently guiding my body toward a longer daily fast, letting my healing chemistry lead more of my day. I learned that this phase can be a permanent destination. I lived in this advanced stage for a long time. I was in no rush to get to the next step. This is where deep, steady cellular healing really begins. My skin tightened and my energy skyrocketed. Then I reached number 7, 23-in-1. Welcome to OMAD, 1 meal per day. I shrank my eating window down to just 1 single hour a day. For 23 hours, I maintained a perfectly clean fast. Not only did this massively amplify the healing benefits of my fasting, but I started to truly practice using the mental muscle of saying no to food. I felt untouchable. This is also where my tools needed a major upgrade. I graduated from those cheap urine ketone strips to a highly accurate blood ketone meter. The urine strips only told me if I was making enough ketones to pee out excess energy. The blood meter told me exactly how much ketosis I was in, which was a crucial part of managing my advanced metabolism. Number 8 is called Advanced OMAD. At this sophisticated stage, I fine-tuned my OMAD schedule to align perfectly with my body's natural clock. I moved my single eating hour to be within 11 hours of sunrise. This matched my metabolism to my natural circadian rhythm, maximizing every single benefit. This is where the mental game got incredibly real for me. Doing this with a community of like-minded women made all the difference in the world. My key daily measurement became the Dr. Boz ratio. I took my blood glucose and divided it by my blood ketones. I checked it first thing in the morning and again right before I ate my meal. It gave me a literal peek inside my biology to see exactly what my insulin was doing that day. I felt like a scientist of my own body. Next came number 9, the 36-hour fast. I moved from building my baseline metabolism to strategically stressing my body for much greater healing. A 36-hour fast was my first real challenge, and the logistics were actually quite simple. I ate a beautiful dinner on Monday night. I got up on Tuesday and did not eat a single thing all day long. Then on Wednesday morning, I enjoyed breakfast. By starting in the evening, I got to use 2 full sleep cycles to my massive advantage. It was surprisingly doable. But this is an advanced tool, and a strict word of warning is critical. If you are on any medications for blood pressure or blood sugar, you must do this under your doctor's supervision. My medical needs changed rapidly, and you can have a dangerous drop in blood pressure if you do not adjust properly. Number 10 was a 36-hour fast, completely without the celebration meal. Honestly, let me explain why this was the hardest step for me. This step is purely psychological. For my entire life, I had this mental connection that said fasting was a painful punishment that earned me the reward of a huge splurge. It took work to realize that fasting is not a punishment. The fast is a beautiful tool for healing. After my 36 hours, I learned to simply return to my normal, measured pattern of eating without throwing a massive celebration meal. This demonstrated true, profound mastery over my food psychology. I led a group fast with my tribe and we conquered our minds together. Number 11 is the 48-hour fast. Logistically, a 48-hour fast was totally different from a 36-hour fast. While the 36-hour fast shifted my eating schedule to mornings, a 48-hour fast kept my evening mealtime perfectly consistent. This was actually much easier for me. I ate dinner on Monday night. I fasted cleanly all of Tuesday, and then I ate dinner again on Wednesday night. It is a simple, highly repeatable pattern that was so safe I could try it up to twice a week. I felt light, lean, and incredibly focused. Finally, we reached step 12, the 72-hour fast. This is the absolute pinnacle. A 72-hour fast is a deeply powerful therapeutic tool for a major metabolic reset. I want to be clear that this is not for everyday life. This is a highly focused challenge. My protocol was to fast for 72 clean hours once a week for 8 consecutive weeks. The rest of the week, I simply returned to my comfortable baseline, whether that was 16-8 or OMAD. This sustained, intermittent stress pushed my body to its absolute peak state of healing and cellular repair. I felt my cells cleaning themselves out. This is where my most profound physical transformations happened. This is where I secured my longevity. Looking back, I know exactly what you are thinking. What do you actually eat on a ketogenic diet to reverse insulin resistance and achieve this kind of power? Before you go to the grocery store and get confused by the labels, you need a plan. Click here to watch my complete food shopping guide. I will show you exactly what to buy. I will see you there. You see, getting older is an absolute privilege, but living in a tired, broken body is a choice. We do not have to accept the narrative that age 50 means slowing down. This body is the only vehicle you have to carry your dreams, your love, and your legacy. Reclaiming your chemistry requires grit. It requires you to face your habits and push through the discomfort until you find the incredible freedom on the other side. But I promise you, the energy, the mental clarity, and the sheer confidence you feel when you take back your health is worth every single second of discipline. I want you to look in the mirror and see strength. I want you to feel proud of the investment you are making in yourself. We are building a movement of people who refuse to fade away. I want you to be part of it. If you are ready to master your biology and write your next vibrant chapter, go down to the comments right now. Leave a footprint of your commitment. Type this exact phrase, "I am strong." Let that be your daily truth. I am so proud of you. Let's keep going.